Welcome to another week of Campo di Bella podcast. My name is Mark.
I'm Mary Ann, and we're here on the farm on this gorgeous sunny Friday afternoon. It's been a cold couple of weeks for us here on the farm.
Yeah, it's been very cold, but it's actually nice and sunny out, which is getting me excited for spring. And there's a little bit of melting around the farm. Not quite there yet, but hopefully next week by early Monday or Tuesday, we're supposed to hit maybe 40. Drop back down a little bit, but hopefully there'll be...
I don't think we'll see the grass yet, though.
No, okay. We've got too much snow.
I was going to say, yeah, we've got a lot of moisture waiting to get to defrost and thaw so that we have lots of green fields for springtime. Yeah,
but the big problem is that we thought things were headed in the right direction and everything was going to start to get warm, and we felt lucky that no problems arose in the barn. And then all of a sudden Massimo came home from doing chores and said...
Last night.
Yeah, last night, and said there's no water in the barn. So the Iowa hydrant froze again.
And that happens to us every now and again when we hit those really cold weeks of winter weather. We've attempted to solve the problem, or at least, how do you say it, try to mitigate the problem. No, that's not the right word. I'm not thinking. But anyway, to solve the problem, we've attached a bunch of garden hoses from our mudroom, our laundry room in the kitchen house, in the farmhouse, to the barn, and then we bring the hoses in and we lay them in our dining room floor to thaw next to the wood-burning stove for the next day's thing. Hopefully with the warm weather coming next week, it'll only be a short-term freeze. You don't think so?
I don't think so. So for the non-farmer types out there, the Iowa hydrant is the main water supply to the barn.
Yes.
And it runs from our well to the barn. And I think it's not buried that deeply, the water pipe. It's probably buried less than 3 or 4 feet. But I was hoping that all the snow would act as insulation and we wouldn't have that problem this year. Last year we did not have the problem, but this year it froze. But the issue...
You get too comfortable.
Yeah, I know. The issue with this is that once it freezes, it takes weeks to unthaw. So this is going to mean carrying water from the farmhouse to the barn. And as you mentioned in the past, when we had cows, when they were going through maybe 50 gallons of water per day, we had to connect hoses from the farmhouse, run it about 130 feet to the barn and give them water every day. Luckily, the sheep don't drink that much, and we can get away with maybe 2 5-gallon buckets of water per day. And we're lucky we have a teenager to do that now. So
exactly. And then also, for those of you that are unfamiliar to winter chores, animal chores, what you do is you put a heater inside the water trough. And unfortunately, you have to make sure that heater stays underneath the water because you're putting it in a plastic container, so you don't want the animals to drink up all the water and then the heater is just sitting on the plastic. It could start a fire. Or, as we've known with the pigs and the sheep, both are very creative creatures. If they don't like the heater, they'll throw it out of the trough when they just are done with it. And then we find the heater sitting on the floor of the barn. But that's always a risk for us because we're worried about the barn catching on fire.
Yeah, so hopefully things will start defrosting, but as far as the Iowa hydrant goes, it's going to take weeks. But we have to move on with the podcast because we've got plenty of stuff to cover today. And we thought today we'd actually honor our producers, the most common producers that we have at the farm, or use their product by including them, early, at least listing them in our podcast. So
I was trying to think back to when we first started 5.5 years ago, who our very first spotlighted producer was, and I want to say it was Upland's Cheese. Do you remember, Mark?
I don't remember.
Okay, I know we did one in the spring or fall with them, and then we did a couple throughout the summer. But yeah, Upland's Cheese has been one that we've been with since the get-go.
Yeah, so this is our core group of producers or people who we obtain product from or have the wine house to give presentations during our farm-to-table dinner events. And we think this is nearly all-inclusive. And if we're forgetting somebody, please let us know.
Yes, we're sorry.
And just to mention this, too, you guys are all listed on our website. So if you go under
the dining
dinners,
options.
and then click on our producers. Everyone is listed there. And again, if we are missing somebody, please, please, please let us know. Send us an email, and then I'll be happy to put you on for next week or include you on the website or both.
And then we also have a chalkboard in the wine house that we have posted all of our producers. But let's start with our cheese producers because they're the ones.
Well, we're going in alphabetical order.
Oh, we do not need to go in alphabetical order.
It's easier that way. It's listed in alphabetical order, so stick to alphabetical order.
Okay, go ahead. You say the first one then.
Okay, so Bluemont Dairy.
And how do we know Willie Lehner? Go ahead, Mark. We know Willie Lehner through a couple different avenues. I think if my memory serves me well, I met Willie through my connections with Trillium Food Store here in Mount Horeb. But the first time I tried his cheese was at a chamber event at the Cave of the Mountains, and I really loved his Grano Padano. And Willie is actually known for his Bandage Cave aged cheddar. And so what he did was he built a cave on his farm. He's a second generation Swiss cheesemaker, and he makes his cheese and then he wraps it in bandages and puts it in his cave to age. It's really delicious. The other one that he makes is an Alpine Renegade that I love, but he doesn't make it all the time. So I'm on the wait list for that one for next time. And then, like I mentioned, the Grano Padano that I have in our cooler right now is from Willie Lehnert. He's a small cheesemaker on the opposite side of 18151 in the township. I want to say it might be the Vermont township, but Blue Mounds, I know he's township of Blue Mounds in that area. And so I drive over to the farm and I always get to visit with him and his partner and talk to them about how things are going and stuff. The next one is also in that neck of the woods. It's on the north side of Blue Mounds, and that's Blue Valley Gardens. That's Matt and Susan Smith. They've been spotlighted producers for us a few times. We have Matt. I think the first time we met Matt was about his asparagus, because I know that he sold some of his product at the Dane County Farmers Market.
But I think it went back to just personal ordering through him. I think we first started getting turkeys through him a long time ago, and his turkeys are awesome. So he raises turkeys, he raises duck, he has asparagus. What else does he have?
I want to say quail, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so
he has different fowl. I know that much.
Yes,
but I don't know what those fowls are.
It doesn't put him in a foul mood.
No, he's a very jovial guy. Yes. I don't find him very, and he's very he's salt of the earth. And when he comes to speak as a spotlighted producer, as we found with most of our farmer friends, they're very uncomfortable being in the spotlight. So they really, we ask a lot of them to stand up and tell their story. They're very humble and very genuine people. And so it's always a pleasure to have them talk about their business and how they've got started and where they're going with their business.
Yeah, and Matt actually comes twice a year. Yep. So in spring we have him over for asparagus, and we feature at least a full 5-course meal around his asparagus.
Almost.
And again, 5 courses.
No, did you do asparagus ice cream yet?
That sounds disgusting.
Well, you'd be surprised. It might be delicious.
Okay. So anyway, we have him in fall for his duck, and his duck is just absolutely incredible. He gets them to us whole, and I bone the duck and break everything apart, and we make cassoulet with it. We make duck breast and a whole bunch of other wonderful things. So it's great to have Matt over. And speaking of poultry, we have Bryant Family Farms, and I'll let you take that one.
That's Nico Bryant, yep. Outside of Mineral Point, if I'm not mistaken. And Nico has a very large farm, and he raises not only chickens, but also meat chickens, but also chicken eggs and ducks and duck eggs and turkeys. And
he does a lot. He does it all.
Yeah, I'm probably missing a couple other things. But the nice thing about Nico is Nico Bryant's family farm business is that they deliver. And so you need to go on their website and you can put in an order and they will deliver. I'm not sure if it's to their door or to a specific location. He's only delivered to my farm.
I'm not sure if they're going to do personal deliveries.
No, they do personal deliveries from their website, yes.
Well, I have people check with their website. I don't want to
just check on their website on what they're doing right now with the pandemic.
Yeah,
but definitely in the past, they have done, I know you had to order by a certain day to get delivery for that week and stuff like that.
Yeah, so definitely check Nico out. He does a great job, and he's got great product, and it's great to work with as well.
Exactly. The next group family is the Bursberry Patch outside of it's not actually Ridgeway. It's not Mahura, Mark. They're in Ridgeway, Wisconsin, and so it's about a 20-minute drive from here. And
it's not 20 minutes. It's not that far.
It really is that far.
It's not.
Oh my gosh. This is the man who doesn't drive it. So he's telling me how long it takes me to get to someplace. So in the springtime,
speed up, Granny.
Late spring, early summer, we go to them for their strawberries. And then in the fall, we hit them up for their raspberries. And I get flats at a time because we also freeze. We freeze the beautiful fruit and we put it in the freezer for winter desserts as well. So wonderful people. This year with pandemic, we actually had to, they have a U-pick for the strawberries, not for the raspberries, but for the strawberries. And we had to go and pick it ourselves. So I got the boys up early and we got there as fast as we could because they were very conscientious of harvesting the strawberries. And so you were in designated areas, and definitely COVID restrictions were being followed on that farm. So not only do they do fruits, but they also do different vegetables. I kind of like their method. They pick vegetables and fruits that don't coincide at the same time. So something is always being spotlighted on their farm. But check out their website at Bursberry Patch in Ridgeway, Wisconsin. And that's the Kathy and I'm blanking on the man's name. I'm sorry, Kathy is the wife's name, but I can't think of the husband's name.
The women are always in charge anyway, right?
Yeah, so. Pretty much. So
what about this next producer? They always give us problems.
Yeah, no, that's us. So please be quiet. Yes, we.
Campo di Bella is the next producer.
Yeah, we.
That Marianne character is the worst.
As much of our vegetables and fruits as we possibly can, and
that Mark guy is grumpy all the time.
Yeah, he is. But we grow for the dinners themselves. It's taken a bit of a learning curve to figure out what we can grow well and also how much we need per dinner and whether Mother Nature is going to cooperate or not. We may want to put it in the ground and we may want to grow it, but then Mother Nature has plans of her own and stuff. So.
Okay, so we got to minimize the stuff about us. But anyway, we raise our vegetables, our fruit, all the pretty flowers you see on your dishes, the edible flowers, herbs, grapes, eggs, lamb, that all comes from us.
Yeah.
Anyway, Beck, how about some bison?
Yeah, so this was really neat. I did not know that we had a local bison farmer nearby, but having met Mark out at Catnip Hollow, he's got a beautiful farm there, and he's growing herds of buffalo. And buffalo meat is very lean, and it's very good for you. It's not something people are used to, but we did a dinner with his bison, and I think it was well received, don't you?
I think everybody liked it. I forgot what I made.
I don't even remember. Did you not chili? Was it a bison chili?
I didn't do the bison chili.
I don't remember what you did, honestly. No, I'm sorry. I'm blanking on what we did. But anyway, great people. Check with his website on where he's selling. I think a lot of times he just sells right off the farm. So you might need to give him a call and see when he's bringing in some bison for marketing and then you can put in your order and pick it up at the farm.
Yep. The next person, Catnip Hollow.
Catnip Hollow. Yep. The next person is not far from Mark where he's at, but in a different, I think she's in a different county. She's in Blanchardville. This is our good friend April Prusia from Dorothy's Range, and I know I've spoken about her before, but she's my pig whisperer. She has a beautiful herd of pasture raised and heritage breed pigs, and she is very conscientious of them and is very involved in the whole process of raising from farrow to market. And she's actually working on a grant right now to establish a mobile, if not brick and mortar, slaughtering house for animals in our area, because there's a dire need for that.
Yep, and we're going to feature her pork tonight
with our pork
and
loin.
also next week.
With our pork shoulder. And then lastly, the next person on there is Dream Farm.
Diana's awesome.
Go ahead, you can talk about
the most wonderful person on earth. So,
and she's very humble, and she hates to speak.
Yeah, but we love having her here as one of our producers, and her goat cheese is just outstanding.
Yes, by far the best goat cheese.
Yep, and then she also has more of a mature Arthur cheese that's from her cow or cows.
A couple cows,
and
I think she's got one right now, but I don't know for sure.
And she's one of our big cheese sources, and she's out in Cross Plains.
Yeah, and she has she also sells at the Westside County Market during the summers, and she will, I think both girls now have gone through the cheesemaker certification, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be second generation cheese creamery.
Yeah, not to get off the topic, but one of her daughters also works at Nook on the east side, and if you haven't been to Nook, it is an outstanding restaurant. So try going there.
Yeah. It's definitely a unique dining experience.
Yep.
So,
yep.
And so, just to reiterate about Dream Farm, a lot of these farms have their kids working alongside them, like we do, and so building up. We do.
We do.
Yeah, our boys work alongside us. Quiet. You just told them that Massimo's doing chores for you, so be quiet. And so What I'm saying is that the girls are older on Dream Farm, and they're mature young women, and seeing them take over the reins and working with their mom, alongside their mom, to build up the business gives me hope for my kids and what my business will look like in the future in their hands. So pleased to see the second generation, and possibly third in some cases, moving forward and creating new avenues for the businesses, for the small farmer businesses. The next people on our list are our good friends, the Schlimgens over Dreamy 280 Farm Fresh Meats off of 18151 there. And Lisa,
this is where we get the bulk of our beef.
The beef,
so
by far.
Yeah,
that's by far. The only time you have a filet mignon, that's probably the only meat we have that isn't theirs, but everything else is pretty much theirs for the most part. They are a second generation, I think, family farm, and they have 280 acres. And I love the way Lisa explains when she does our dinners as a spotlighted producer. She really explains the whole process. They're in it from growing the hay for the bedding for the animals in the winter, to the feed and the grain for the animals in the winter and the summer, and taking them to market, and also breeding the type of animals that they want, that they know will be good for meat as well as for breeding purposes, because they also have a breeding company alongside the meat company. So really great people. And they're really easy to work with. We just bought, was it a quarter or a half?
Quarter cow.
Quarter cow. And our freezer is packed solid with their great beef. And we just had their hanger steak last night, which was terrific and stuff.
And then we feature other people in fall, too, for specialty items. So Emily and Jody Makos, out of, they're out of Monroe, like down there.
Yeah,
so I used to work with Jody, and her daughter raises just outstanding rabbit, probably some of the best rabbit I've tasted.
She's been our youngest spotlighted producer, and Emily now is a freshman in college. How many years has it been? 3, 4 that we've been doing our rabbit? It's been a while,
but she started the business.
Yeah, she started it as a 4-H project, and she was one of the, I don't remember what county they live in, but she's one of the dairy...
Green.
Is it Greene County?
Yeah, it's Greene County.
She was Greene County Dairy Princess or Greene County Princess, and now she's on to a career in from what I know, occupational therapy, but still her little sister's taking over the rabbit business and keeping them alive while she's in college in Minnesota.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have Jody back this fall if things go well. Jody and Emily.
If we can get Emily on one of her breaks,
Yeah,
I think we'll work that out. If we're going to be open to have Emily back, she's amazing, and she's won a bunch of awards in the farming industry. So we love supporting young farmers and young producers as well.
And we need sweet things to go with our food too. So where does that come in?
Gentle Breeze Honey. We met the Woolers prior to becoming farmers.
True neighbors before,
Yes, we met their bees, being neighbors to them, and then after we started the business, we started making connections and bugging Jean and Donna about putting bees on our property. And I would say about 2-3 years ago, we got them to come over and be spotlighted producers before the bees actually came to the property. And then their son and daughter-in-law, Tim and Kathy, took over the business somewhere around 2-3 years ago now. And Tim actually put bees on our property, so you can actually see the beehives in the summer. Sorry, in the winter they're in California; they get shipped to California. But in the summer or spring they come back, and you can see them straight from the winehouse windows, the beehives and stuff like that.
I just don't go too close.
No, you can't get too close to them. Tim does a good job of creating the hive, and I remember the first year we had those bees on our property. They were all over the seed trays that we were planting, and we were having them outside. And they're really harmless. But it was just nice to see pollination in its most basic form happening on the farm. So it's great to have the Woolers come and talk to us about Gentle Breeze Honey.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have them in spring. Well, if things go well, we'll see if we can get them out again. That was the hope, if we could get them out in the springtime before their lives get super crazy with bringing the bees back to Wisconsin and having a busy business. We'll see what happens this spring with everything. But
and then our next producer is Hook's Cheese Company out of Mineral Point, Wisconsin. Now, I have to say, I don't remember how we got connected with Hooks, but we started asking them to supply us with cheese, and one of the brothers lived here in Mount Horeb, Jerry, and then we started ordering cheese from him, and Jerry would bring it home because he worked at the plant in Mineral Point, so I didn't have to go out to the plant and pick it up. And
Jerry's just like a salt of the earth guy, and he's just the most outstanding speaker.
He's a fantastic speaker, and Jerry now, and he's also a retired veteran, and he's moved on to working in the Veteran Affairs area instead of working at the family business. But he's still got a daughter and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews working at the family business, and now his sister drops off cheese when we need it. But wonderful cheesemakers. Mark was telling me that his favorite cheese is which one?
The Hook's Blue.
And there are 7 different blue cheeses. And we were fortunate enough when they had their
20-year-old cheddar.
Well, they did have the 20-year-old cheddar. Otherwise, I was going to say that we did have special wine and cheese pairings with their national brand manager, Sarah Hill, before the pandemic. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
And now, and then we love to pair cheese with apples, and Munchkie Apples is our next producer, and that's Laura Tish and her family outside of Blanchardville there. She's also got a wonderful place, and she actually has an apple barn that people should go and check out. She has quite a multitude of products that are made with her apples, but I love her Honeycrisp apples, so I get them by the bushel.
And they last a long time.
They're still in our cooler from last fall.
Yeah, we do lots of stuff with them in fall. They're perfect for fall meals. And Laura's been great with getting me Honeycrisp trees for planting around the farm, but the issue with that is the deer keep on getting to them and eating them, so we've got to get more trees from her to
but if you
plant someplace.
If you go on her to her property, you come up on the driveway and there is an over 8-foot.
Yeah, she does it right. So she knows what she's doing. So.
That surrounds her entire property and keeps those little pesky buggers away from her gorgeous apples and stuff. So definitely check out Munchkie apples. I know that they sell at Miller's too during the fall as well, so they're always fun. And I know that they use Brick Cider uses Munchkie apples in their apple cider as well. Pasture Patterns. Beth and Steve Albert, I met a long time ago, and our paths seem to cross a bit, but I always get their eggs. And unfortunately, when we first opened the business, I couldn't start an account with them because I never knew how much eggs we were going to need weekly. And so I would just get them at the grocery store at Miller's.
So
Miller's
this
does a wonderful job.
So this is one of those cases there. Yes, we do get product from the grocery store, but the product that we get from the grocery store is Pasture Patterns eggs, which is just down the road from us. The reason we don't get it directly from them is because of the volume. So in summertime, we actually use our own eggs when our chickens start producing. But then in fall and winter, our chickens we
supplement
our chickens don't want to be bothered
with
laying eggs, so we go to Pasture Patterns, and we get them at the local grocery store, which is also family owned.
Yep. So love their eggs and check them out. And then Squashington Farm, Pat and Sarah have come to our aid quite a few times in the last few years when our vegetables aren't growing enough or we're looking for a specific vegetable that we want, but we decided we didn't want to grow it ourselves and stuff. They always seem to come through with some gorgeous vegetables that they have on their farm. They're a CSA, and they're right across the street from us, or down the road from us, not across the street, but down the road from us. Great young couple who are really strong advocates for the local farmers market. So do check them out. And they also have done a couple winter farmer markets, and also have a beautiful website you can order direct from them.
Yeah, they've dug us out of little emergencies when we run short on product, and we've gone to them.
I can keep thinking of the gorgeous tomatoes they have.
So we're very thankful that they're around.
And then Cider Farm, Deirdre and her partner John, I still can't think of his last name, but anyway, own Cider Farm out of Mineral Point, Wisconsin. And it's been a few years since we've had them as a spotlighted producer, but I really like their cider. First off, I like her little tag. She says it's cider. No, how does she say it? She says it's cider refreshment with wine complexity. So she's taken cider to a whole new level. So whenever somebody asks me what the cider tastes like, I always tell them it's an English type cider, cider, not your Angry Orchard, because it is definitely not a sweet cider, and it's beautifully done. So definitely check them out. They have a tasting room over on Junction Road that they just opened a couple years ago.
Yep. So. And we've had Brick Cider out before with their cider and have them for a dinner too, but we're going to reserve them for another podcast because I want to bring them up as part of a Mount Horeb group that we'll discuss in a future podcast. So
okay. And then Three Branches Vineyard is someone that most of you probably won't ever meet in person unless you have an inkling to make wine and grow grapes. But Randy and his wife have a beautiful farm near Arena, Wisconsin, and he was a commercial. I think it's been in the family at least one generation, if I'm not mistaken, that farm. And now I think he's getting his kids involved. So I think it's second or third generation.
Yeah. So Randy supplies the majority of our grapes. We do supply obviously grapes from our farm, but he's been the one that has grown things consistently year after year, and he's got a much larger vineyard than we do. So most of our grapes we use for wine come from his vineyard just in Arena. So it's probably less than 30 miles away.
Yep.
And then we supplement with obviously our grapes from our vineyard.
Yeah. And Mark posted something today on, was it Instagram? that I see
Yeah, we actually.
on Instagram that you went to take a little tasting of the wine that we're working on for the 2020 wine.
Yep. So Fossil Rock Red will be back next year, or this year actually. So
This
we
year,
had our
2021,
vintage.
yep.
Yeah, we made wine last fall and pressed it, and it's in the tanks, and it's actually tastes pretty good.
Yeah,
So
it's been a few years since we've been able to release our wines. We've had a couple of batches that have gone
just with
to other ingredients and or other avenues
Yeah.
or
other endeavors.
other endeavors like vinegar and vermouth. And so with that being said, this will be the first wine we'll have released since 2016. So it's 5 years in the making,
Yeah.
philosophically, not realistically. All right. And lastly, the last producer that we have on our list is Uplands Cheese out of Dodgeville, Wisconsin. And that's Andy Hatch and his partner. And Andy only makes 2 types of cheeses. He makes the Pleasant Ridge Reserve, which is gotten awards by both cheese societies and has been showcased in one of Martha Stewart's magazine issues for the state of Wisconsin. And that's a raw cow's milk cheese that's been aged. And he only makes the cheese from April to December. And the other cheese is called Rush Creek, you said? And it's beautifully wrapped in bark. And that is released usually near Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving,
and
Christmas,
it's
for the
Camembert brie
It's a soft-
type. It's a soft cheese,
Yeah.
but so delicious. And it doesn't last long here in the house. And if you don't eat the rind, the dog and the chickens will eat it for you because we put that in the compost pile and it never stays long enough.
Yeah, lucky dog and chickens.
I know, they are very lucky. Okay, those are all of the people that we are thankful for that have helped us grow our business. And in return, we hope that we've grown theirs.
Well, we're thankful for other people too, right?
Oh, for lots of people. But these producers are doing similar things to what we're doing and focusing on quality over quantity and making a name for themselves and their family, and also spearheading local family farms.
Yeah, these are all local
Wisconsin.
producers. And one thing that we should do as local businesses is support each other. So we're supporting all these different businesses, and a lot of them have come back to us, like Lisa's ordered from us. Lisa's come to dinners, among others. So this is what businesses should do on a local level, is support each other.
Yeah, but also residents should support local businesses
Absolutely.
and local economy. The more we can keep the money as close to home as possible, the more families can thrive and prosper in these very uncertain terms, especially on farms. Farming has really taken major hits these last decade and a half.
Yeah, for some reason, I think most of our traffic comes from out of state. So I'm not quite
A lot
sure.
of our traffic doesn't come within 15 miles of our farm, which is
and
not sure why that is.
I'm
But
confused about that.
But so we're getting it out there. We're asking you to support us, support these other farmers and producers, and either by going to their establishments and buying directly from them, or coming to one of our dinners, or hopefully...
Or going to other places that support them or offer their products. So, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so that's our spotlighted producer segment.
Yeah, so to tie it up, we're going to just talk about, briefly talk about next week's menu. So next week we're
I
going
didn't even look at it. I'm sorry.
So we're going to do the potato.
What are we doing?
I'm going to tell you in a second.
So go ahead.
So potato torta. You
Yes.
want to describe that?
No, you can. It's yours.
This is my family recipe. So essentially what you do is kind of cook some potatoes. You gently boil the potatoes and I either mash them or we rice them, and we combine it with fresh herbs, eggs, cream, milk, Parmesan cheese, and then you actually spread that into a half sheet pan and bake it in the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful slice of a potato tort.
So what it ends up becoming is this crustiness on the outside and this mashed potato heaven on the inside. So you just crack into it and you're just like, the sky's open and you feel like you're in food nirvana. So that's definitely the beginning of the beginner course for that meal. And then the main course is going to be the braised pork shoulder that we told you will be from Dreamy 280.
No, not Dreamy
280. I'm okay.
April.
It's pork,
Dorothy's
not
Range.
beef. So yeah, Dorothy's Range.
And we're going to serve that with some cannellini beans, I think. So we'll do that and
nice
do some cannellini beans.
Little take on pork and beans.
Yep. And then we're going to finish up.
Wait, how are you doing the pork shoulder? Are you braising it in red wine?
Slow braise.
Slow braise. In wine.
In wine.
Got it. Okay. And then the final...
What color I haven't decided yet.
Okay, sounds good. And the final... the dessert will be your flourless chocolate cake, it looks like.
Flourless chocolate tart, yep.
And that is really, really good. A side note...
It's rich, it's dense, it's fudgy.
What was it, Thanksgiving 2 years ago when you and Massimo had the flourless chocolate tart competition because Joey, our nephew, came over and he's gluten-free?
Maybe.
I think it was. And poor Joey was put on the spot. He was asked to decide which one was better. And truthfully, I don't know if we ever came to a decision on which one was better. Both were very different and both were super tasty. I will say that I think Massimo eked Mark out by just a hair, but I don't want to put him on the spot. So, but I do love his flourless chocolate tart, and I'm not a big chocolate girl, so for me to love it means a lot.
Yeah, so it'll be a good menu next week.
Yeah, we got plenty of space, guys, so sign up if you're interested.
Got tons of open space. I think this week we only had 5 people get takeout for the whole weekend. Yeah. So there's a ways to go. And the podcast is going well. We enjoy doing it. But I think last week we only had about 30 views. So we are more than happy to do this and love doing this. In fact, we've got ideas for future podcasts. But get the word out. Get the word out.
Yeah, let us know by just liking the podcast.
Yeah, and
subscribing so that we know that you want us to keep doing this. Otherwise, we can do something else, I guess.
Yeah. There's always other stuff to do.
There's always
like
stuff
I said,
to do.
we're happy to do this, but show your support and subscribe.
We like to talk and make sure that we're connecting with y'all because we haven't seen everybody for a very long time. But we also don't want to bore the heck out of you. So if you guys would like, please also suggest topics. Feel free to put that in the comment section on the YouTube page.
Yeah, and for the producers out there, if you're listening and you were listed today, if you guys actually want to do a podcast with us, we can do that. So we can figure out how to do it remotely and have you on the podcast and highlight your business in that fashion, since we currently can't do it at the winery. Hopefully we will this spring and summer, but let's kind of take it one step at a time. But we'd be happy to have you on the podcast and do some type of remote call-in. But I'll figure that out.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Great idea. All right. Well, I think that's it for us for this week. Everybody stay warm. It looks like it's warming up this weekend after tonight. And hopefully our Iowa pump, keep our fingers crossed, will thaw quickly.
We'll see. So we've got to go start cooking.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll
see you next week.
Have a great weekend.
See you next weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.